Welcome back to Her Side of Campus, the show where ideas spark action and voices ignite change. I'm your host, Komal Iqbal, and today we're going to be talking about period poverty. I'm joined by Freedom4Girls, who I've been working with. We've done a few workshops to tackle period poverty, male allyship, and also females understanding their bodies better. They've been doing incredible work tackling stigma, improving access to menstrual products, and promoting education around menstrual health. To start off, could you both introduce yourselves, please?
Hi, I'm Sasha. I'm one of the Leicester team and I also lead on our Periods in Sport project.
Hi, I'm Charlotte, also part of the Leicester team, and I lead on our education.
Thank you very much. Could you explain what period poverty really means? Because I think a lot of the audience won't actually know what it means.
Yeah, so for us at Freedom4Girls, we believe that period poverty is caused by the toxic trio. So that's lack of access to product, lack of access to education, and then the shame and stigma around menstruation.
And you mentioned this toxic trio before. So would you be able to elaborate on that and how it affects women?
Yeah, so the toxic trio are like three different elements that all bind together to become what we call period poverty. Lack of access to products, lack of access to education, and shame and stigma all together present like a situation for women where women have barriers to face in their daily lives. So if somebody's living in period poverty, for example, if they've not got access to products, then they might not be able to get out to go to school or to uni or to work. If somebody's not got access to good education around periods and menstruation, then they might be living with menstrual related health issues and not being able to reach out to go to the doctor. And all of that really can be helped by tackling stigma, because shame and stigma that's imposed on female bodies, which has been for a really long time, makes it an uncomfortable conversation for people to have. So if somebody's living in period poverty, they are less likely to talk about it. If someone can't get access to menstrual products, they are less likely to say, hey, like I need a hand with this, I can't afford them.
What are some of the biggest misconceptions about period poverty that you think people still have?
So I think it's kind of a twofold thing. I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that it's not a problem and it's not really a problem in the UK.
Yeah.
So the latest stats show that it's about 21% of women and menstruating people in the UK are experiencing period poverty, which is like over like 1 in like 5 people. So I think it's a lot more people than people think are experiencing it. Another one is that period poverty is just about not having access to like pads and tampons. Whereas a big thing that we're trying to tackle is making sure that people have access to the products that work best for them and their body.
Yeah.
Not just here's a pad and get on with it. It's making sure that people have access to things that work best for them. If there's someone who's got sensitive skin, then kind of like organic things or period pants.
Yeah.
Or if you're someone who's trans or non-binary, making sure that you have access to products that are gender affirming, to like period boxes or something like that.
Yeah, I get that. We recently conducted a survey here at the university, and we found that over 60% of respondents said that they struggle to have access to period products on campus. What does that say about the widespread issue that is still in higher education today about this?
I think the stat is something like 67% of university age menstruators struggle to afford or have struggled to afford period products. That's the stat. I think that what you found in your university is pretty standard across all universities. We know that on average, university students through their maintenance grant receive £502 a month less than the monthly outgoings. So already we know that students are struggling to live and to pay for their lives. And then on top of that, you've got menstruating people who've then got that extra cost, that extra added cost. And I think in educational systems, like, it's something that is just been missed for quite some time.
Yeah, I wish they were free. I really wish that periods and tampons were just there and available for everybody regardless.
Yeah, I mean, you go into a toilet
and
there's toilet paper. You don't expect to have to keep a roll of toilet paper in your bag in case you need to go to the toilet. So why is it any different with menstrual products?
And some toilets still charge you for pads. And I'm like, this is ridiculous.
And what, it's like sometimes like £1 for 2.
Yeah. And it's a need,
A girl told me yesterday in a school that she got charged £2 for a single pad in a toilet once. And I was like, that's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. I honestly don't believe that pads should be something that we have to pay for, and that's another reason why we have a period product donation station here on campus. So if you guys are struggling with, if you end up like starting a period on campus and you don't have a pad on you, you can come to the Students' Union and we can give you, we have a drawer and you can discreetly or freely pick up a pad and take it to the toilet with you. We also try to keep them in little baskets in the toilets in the Students' Union, and we are trying to do that all across campus, but that is a work in progress. Nearly half of the people that were on this survey that we did, they also had said that they don't feel comfortable discussing menstruation openly on campus or at university. How can we start breaking down that stigma?
So I think part of it you're already doing. So having free period products available, I think is a big part of breaking down that stigma, because it opens up that conversation and shows that it isn't something that needs to be hidden.
Yeah.
That's a big kind of stigma issue. Also running events like we did today and just having those posters around being like, yeah, we're running a period poverty workshop, we're running a body literacy workshop.
Yeah.
And then also engaging with the men and helping that be a conversation that they're comfortable with and that they are willing to engage in. I think a big problem that people have when they don't want to talk about it openly is that they don't want to talk about it around men, especially particularly in some cultures where it's not kind of seen as appropriate to discuss it with men. Then there's that kind of that barrier. And if you're in mixed gender spaces, which most kind of university classrooms are, then you're not going to want to discuss it. So I think encouraging the men to be comfortable having those conversations and potentially even start those conversations can be really helpful in terms of breaking down stigma.
Yeah, and I think like things like my videos that I do about like the sanitary product drawer that we have in the UB reception is quite a big thing, because I'll go home and my mum's like, "You made another video about periods," and I'm like, "Yeah, like why not? I could talk about periods all day. I mean, it's affecting me on a regular basis, so I should be able to." But I also really like the fact that you guys used an analogy of seasons when we did the workshop. So we did the workshops today. This is the day that we're recording the episode, but it'll probably be coming out much later to you guys. But tell me more about that analogy. I really enjoyed listening to that.
Yeah, sure. So we use the analogy of the seasons just to basically show the difference of the hormonal levels at the phases. And it is a generalization, but it works. It's something that we can use as like an image. So we say that when you're bleeding, that's your menstrual phase, we consider that to be winter. And the way that you can kind of get that as an image in your mind is the hormones in the body are low. So if you think about it in winter, like the ground's low, there's not a lot of vegetation out, everything's kind of like low.
Yeah.
And then after winter comes, what comes after winter? Spring, right? So after winter comes spring. And in the spring, what's happening? Like bulbs are starting to shoot out the ground. There's more vegetation coming on the trees. Everything's starting to grow. Like the world's coming back online, and your hormones are coming back online. So your hormones, the rates of your levels of your hormones are growing, rising, and they rise up until the peak, which is summer. After spring comes summer. And I always think about like summer is the ovulation. That's when the egg is released. That's when the sun is out, shining bright. You know, like the woman's fertile over ovulation. Yeah. And then after summer comes autumn. So you can think of like your hormones are dropping, and then you can think of the leaves on the trees are dropping, like falling down to the ground. You know, vegetation's sort of starting to die out. There's a clearing happening. And we use that because it's just a really nice way to put a picture to the rhythm of the female hormones, and also just kind of like it's something that's tangible. It's something that you can work with when you're doing your body literacy, which is something that we spoke about earlier, where you're paying attention to what's happening to you inside. So it's not necessarily like, oh, it's summer, so I'm going to be feeling great. Not everybody feels great in the summer, and not everybody feels great over ovulation. Generally, people tend to feel better because people respond really well to estrogen, to like high levels of estrogen, but not everyone. So it's just like taking a minute, like a few minutes every day, to turn your gaze inwards and think, how have I felt today? What's my body felt like? And you need to be thinking holistically, like mind, body, spirit, all of the things. Then by doing that, you can get a general picture of kind of what's normal for you, what's not so normal. And then if something changes, if all of a sudden there's a big storm in spring and you don't normally expect a storm in spring, you know that there's something that you might want to go and speak to a GP about or something.
Yeah, I love that analogy. I wanted to go back to the idea of male allies, because we found that in the survey that we did that 70% of students believe that men have a role to play in menstrual equity. From your perspective, what can male allies do to support this cause?
I think first and foremost, it's about being available and mature enough to have the conversations.
Yeah. Like the guys today in our session, they were really good. Yeah.
They were really engaged, like really tuned in, and I loved it. Like, and that's it. It's being like, it's getting comfortable being uncomfortable. It fine, okay? Like the female body might have been a mystery to you throughout your whole life.
Yeah.
We get it. It's a mystery to us. Like, it's fine. But try having a level of curiosity.
Yeah.
Like, we don't need you to save us in this, and we don't need you to know and have all the answers. What we actually need you to do is be able to hold the conversation, be able to listen, and try to understand what we're experiencing.
Yeah.
So, like, the problem of periods, the problem of period poverty is not a female only issue or a menstruating person only issue. It's an everybody issue.
Yeah.
And if we were able to have these conversations more naturally, just in like the wider sphere, we wouldn't have, it wouldn't be to the extremes that it is. So men, just listening, trying to upskill your knowledge where possible, being open to hear a woman's experience and not getting creeped out by like natural bodily processes. It is the most natural thing in the world. Like, you exist because periods exist.
Exactly.
Every single one of you walking around campus right now is literally a missed period.
Yeah.
You were a follicle. Like, you could have been blood.
you could have been blood.
Yeah.
Threat.
Yeah.
So literally just like treating it as the normal, natural bodily process that it is. It's not disgusting. Yeah. Okay. Like, we've all got.
It's definitely not disgusting. I mean, we might. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I do feel a bit disgusted by my period. But I don't want other people to feel that way about me, because that's my bodily function, and also most other women will have that same bodily function, so why should it feel that way, you know?
I think it's framing it in the same way that you'd view other blood. Like, I always use the comparison when we talk about period pants. They're like, oh, I don't want to wash it with my other clothes, that's gross. And I was like, okay, but if you fell over and scraped your knee and you got blood on your knee, and, you know, I was putting my leggings in the wash, I wouldn't think twice about putting my leggings in the wash with other blood. But people seem to have a different perception when it comes to like menstrual blood and stuff like that. And I think it's just viewing it as like, it's gross because it's blood. It's not gross because it's a period, and there's not this kind of added grossness because it's to do with menstruation or anything like that. At least it's how I kind of frame it.
Yeah, that's a lot. It's a lot easier to think of it that way, isn't it? Just generally, I just wanted to know, the sessions that we did today, what stood out to you guys?
I think for me, the thing that really stood out in the male allyship workshop was that we go into the kind of the male sessions often being like, oh, so, you know, talk about the women in their lives. And often we'll talk about, you know, if they've got a girlfriend or if they're hoping to kind of get into a relationship, the impact that it's going to have on that. But what really stood out to me today was that when Charlotte mentioned about their mums and talk about perimenopause, that's when they let up.
Yeah.
And, you know, when Charlotte went, we all love our mums, right? They were like, yeah. And we're like really vocal about that. And really, I mean, they were engaged the whole session.
Yeah, they were.
Really engaged during that bit around perimenopause.
Yeah.
And about kind of how they could support their mums and their mums' experiences. And I just thought that was really beautiful because I think a lot of the time men will kind of, at least it often feels like they'll unwillingly engage with it when it's their girlfriend, because their girlfriend's been like, come on, like, you need to learn about this. Whereas I thought it was really nice that they were doing that for their mums.
Yeah.
And I genuinely believe that some of them are going to go home or next time they see their mum and be like, hey, like, are you okay? Or just kind of, if their mum seems a little bit off or anything, just kind of give them grace and consider that that's maybe what they're going through. And that wasn't a takeaway that I was expecting. So I think that was my like biggest takeaway from today.
I feel like that's very rewarding as well, like to see such a different outcome to what you normally get. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
What about you, Charlotte?
Okay, I'll speak on the girls' session then. I think the thing Okay, something that stands out to me in all sessions is the range of knowledge of the people in the room. So it's really difficult to know where to start, because sometimes in a room, you can't ever kind of like age or stage the level of knowledge that you bring into a room. You can have like a 50-year-old woman and have to start at the basics. What is a menstrual cycle?
Yeah.
So that always stands out to me in every room, just how we can get to university age, we can be very highly educated and still have very little knowledge about our bodies.
Yeah.
So that is always, that's not like just to hear, that's like everywhere. But I think like the gorgeous thing about that session is that everyone was really asking questions and really trying to understand like where they fit in the menstrual cycle story. Like everyone was kind of like reflecting and asking really great questions about really personal pieces. And I think that's really important.
Yeah, they were very open as well, and they were willing to talk, and I really like that, because we need more spaces like that, and that's exactly why I do these sessions, because I want people to be more open and willing to talk about things, because it can make such a big impact on you.
Yeah.
What steps do you think the universities, not just our university, but universities in general, can take to better support students affected by period poverty?
I think to start with, it's having an understanding of the levels of period poverty on your campus and what that period poverty might kind of be focused on. So doing a survey like you guys did and looking at how many people are experiencing it, whether it's kind of a lack of education, whether it's lack of access to products, and then looking at the provisions that you have on campus. So are you giving out free period products? Are you giving out free period products, but it's a bit of an awkward system where they have to go up to a receptionist and be like, can I have some pads? Looking at the workshops that you're putting on, are you doing them kind of in a dodgy back room and it's a mixed gender thing? Or so I think it's just kind of understanding what's going on your campus and then tackling those issues directly rather than kind of taking quite a generalized approach. I mean, obviously, giving free period products is never going to be a bad thing, and that's a really important step in making your campus period friendly. But there's definitely more to it than that, and I think the education side is often one that's quite neglected when we're considering it in that kind of holistic toxic trio setting. And also just making sure that you are calling out kind of bad behaviour. That sounds quite childish, but if you have got lecturers or staff or anyone who maybe is perpetuating that stigma, or is maybe, making jokes or not being, being a bit disparaging towards women and girls who are experiencing period poverty or just experiencing menstrual issues, then that's a part of your campus not being period friendly. So making sure that you're maybe having training for staff about dealing with periods, about menopause, about all of those things, so that the campus as a whole is period friendly. And if someone goes up to their personal tutor and says, actually, I've just got diagnosed with endometriosis, I'm really struggling with this, can I get mitigating circumstances? There's more understanding than just, oh, well, periods aren't that bad. So I think it can go a little bit deeper than just kind of providing free period products, but that would be a great start.
Oh, love that.
Yeah, and I just want to jump in and say, it won't just be students that are affected by period poverty.
Yeah.
Like the staff, the faculty, like across the whole board, there will be people that have been or are being affected by period poverty throughout the whole system.
I actually didn't think about that until you just mentioned it now. Wow. Yeah, it's actually crazy to think that even staff can be, because there's such a range of different ages in staff members, and so they're all going to be in different stages in their lives, and at some point they might need the extra pad or extra tampon for support, and they might not have access to it in their classrooms or anything like that. And I think that's another step that we need to take to make sure that's possible. So I really like that, and I think we'll definitely try to do something about that. I wanted to also ask you guys, for the listeners who want to get involved, whether they want to donate, volunteer or advocate, what are some practical ways you think that they can help?
Okay, so I think first and foremost, like using your voice, speaking about your own experiences, talking to your friends about periods, like being open about periods is the first step. If you can then take that to social media, great. Like if you can like and share and follow period poverty charities, like follow Freedom4Girls, like and share our stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's just spreading the awareness like further and wider the more that you engage in that kind of thing. Also, more practically, if you want to donate to the charity, or if you want to like do a fundraising event or something to raise some money for the charity, like we've got ways that you can help. So you can go to our website, which is www.freedom4girls.co.uk, and on there you can either, if you've got the means to, you can pledge like a monthly thing, like £3 a month I think is the lowest one. £3 a month gets a girl in Kenya a pack that will do them for their whole sort of like education lives. Yeah,
that is crazy.
Yeah, so you're basically supporting a girl a month if you pledge £3. Now I spend like more than £3 every other day on a cup of coffee.
That's it. Yeah,
you know, so there's that thing that you can do if you've got the means. If you haven't, then we've got some fundraising packs that you can download that talks you through like raising a coffee morning or doing a craft event or something like that, where you can get people to kind of donate to come and get involved in your activities or whatever, and then you can send that money to the charity. Yeah, and we're pretty much really willing to support any sort of like weird and wonderful creative ideas if people want to try and support the charity.
Get those pads out there.
Yeah, it's a real hard time for charity, full stop, but period poverty charities especially at the moment, it's a really, really hard time. Like I think we're all feeling it at the moment.
Yeah. Well guys, you heard it here first. Get supporting. What is one message that you would like to leave our audience with about menstrual equity and the power of community in creating change?
I mean, I think Charlotte's just answered that pretty well. I think it's just about making sure that you're having those conversations in your own community, in your little circle of the world, that you're not letting people kind of spread misinformation if they're potentially not being very nice to someone and they're being like, oh, it's just a period, whatever. You being like, actually, it's not, and educating them and taking that time. And I think kind of really, as a woman, especially, or a menstruating person, standing in your power and talking about your experiences really openly creates those conversations, and it creates opportunities for other people to then share their story. As we saw today in that room, one person started sharing their story and then everyone did. And that is hopefully going to create a ripple effect throughout the community, both on campus and kind of the wider community, of being open and honest about periods, and hopefully doing what Charlotte just said and getting involved, advocating, anything like that. So I think it's, just standing in your power, being open and honest, and not letting other people's shame and stigma affect you.
And finally, what is one, I love asking this question to every single person that I have this podcast with, so from both of you, what is one piece of advice that you would like to give to anybody listening?
I've got two.
Okay, go for it.
Firstly, if you are being affected by period poverty, then please speak up. Like, come and speak to Commonwealth Students' Union.
Yeah, I'm always here. Always.
Yeah. Speak to your friends, like speak to your lecturers, just talk, be open and honest about it, because you do not have to be suffering with this alone. And also, like, the quicker you say something, the quicker you're going to be able to get some support and get some help. That's the first thing. And my second piece of advice is do your body literacy. If you are a menstruating person, get to know your body, get to know what's normal for you. And if you need a little bit of a hand with that, if you don't know what body literacy is because you didn't come to the session today, then just email us for your free body literacy digital workbook and we'll get that sent out to you.
Cool. And then I think for me, it's advocate for yourself. We come across so many women who have done their body literacy, who know that something's not going right for them. They're going to the doctor, are being dismissed, and then they're just going, oh, well, that's it. There's nothing I can do. So I think my advice would be do your body literacy, go equipped with actually, no, this is my cycle. This is what I've noticed. This is the changes, and advocate for yourself in that room until they give you what you want, whether that's a test, medication, whatever, and make sure that you are pushing until they find you a solution, until they find you a problem.
I think that's what I need to do as well. I've just been holding off those blood tests and everything.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I think a lot of people feel that they're wasting time and they're not deserving of that time, but you are deserving of that time. We all pay our taxes, or I sure we hope we do. We're all deserving of that GP one. We're all deserving of their time. And if they choose not to engage with you in that time, then they've not done their job. So you can go back until they do.
Yeah, 100%. Put your foot down and look after your health, guys.
Yeah.
It's very important. Health is wealth. Well, thank you very much for coming today to do all of the wonderful workshops and also the podcast today. Keep questioning, keep learning, and keep on making a difference. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on Her Side of Campus.